gonna preface this by saying I do not have Graham Barton anywhere on my list, interior offensive lineman or tackles, and that's just because I graded him as an offensive tackle. If I'm grading him as a guard, he's showing up on the list and he's showing up in the top 5. I just don't have him here, so I'm not gonna talk about him in a moment.
I put a top 5 and I put Graham Barton as a 1A.
Okay, yeah,
but I have a top 5 not including Graham Barton. So
okay. I only have a 6. I don't have a 6 through 10. Cedric Von Prawn, center out of Georgia, is the only guy. So
I like Cedric Von Prawn.
My 5 is Christian Mahogany. Who's your 5? Is he higher or is he left off?
No, Christian Mahogany is my 4.
Okay. Who's your 5 then?
1 Cooper Beebe or Beebe. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah,
is it Beebe?
Perfect. Yeah, it's one of those guys I haven't got around to yet, and I've been meaning to get around to it for a little while now, and I haven't had the opportunity to get back around to the interior offensive lineman, and I know I need to.
You want me to play the hits for you on him?
Yeah, absolutely.
2 sacks given up. He gave up 0 hits, only 7 hurries, 460 pass rush snaps, 460 run, block attempts. Super consistent every single game he played. Just one of those things where I'm sure they'll tell you, if you look at him, they'll say he's not super athletic, but we're talking about a guard. He doesn't have to be a pulling guard.
Yep.
Super, super smart player. And when you're talking about offensive linemen, hand placement is awesome. So realistically, if you're fucking smart and your hand placement is good and you can pass block and run block, I honestly think that he's probably a swing tackle, maybe, or a swing lineman in the NFL. I don't think that he's landing as a premier starter, but we're also on to our 6th or 7th most deep position group in this draft, and we're talking about the 5 or 6th guy. So consistency is key with him. He's not going to show out on tape. He's not the most athletic person you've ever seen in your life, but he's consistent.
Yeah, and it's funny, a lot of the stuff that you say about BB is I see a lot in Mahogany. He's like a below average athlete, so he's not going to be like a great puller. But I think he's intelligent. He's powerful punches. And he wants to put guys in the dirt, right? I like when interior offensive linemen are just nasty dudes, and I think Mahogany is that type of build. He doesn't use his arms, like his arm length, a lot of the times, like you think he would, and his arms could be a little bit higher than you would think. You watch all the other interior offensive linemen. You watch JPJ, Christian Haynes, Mason McCormick, and you see their hands are a little bit higher. You just see it going bang, 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 bang. Because I don't just watch like, oh, hey, let me start with the first overall ranked player, then the second. I watch like all the interior offensive line back to back to back to back to back, usually in a day or 2 day span when I'm ready to sit down and watch film. And you see it and you get around the Mahogany, his arms are like lower and he's like kind of like tucking his elbows in almost. It's weird. It's one of those things it was kind of awkward to me. And I'm like, and you see his arm length out on PFF, like his arm length at the combine, and it's long. He has long ass arms and he could push guys out, but he's not using them. He's like tucking his elbows in. He's kind of has his arms like a crab. It's just fucking strange. But I think he could be a lot higher than this if he kind of extended his arms out and he used his power a little bit more, like he punched guys more. Yeah, it's just a little bit weird. So he's my 5.
Who's Mahogany is another one of those players that is Mahogany is 4 for me.
Oh yeah, that's right.
BB is 5. He's another one of those players that PFF absolutely hates in the zone run game, and obviously that's what my team runs. So to me, but that doesn't. I mean, if he's an average athlete at best, pulling and the zone read stuff isn't going to be something he's super successful at. But that's okay because there's multiple different offenses in the NFL, and not everybody's good at everything. So who's your 4?
Mason McCormick.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this is a guy that this is probably where I'm putting the actually 3 is probably where I'm putting the Graham Barton spot if I was going to put 1, 3, or 4. I really like Mason McCormick. I think because of the smaller school, I think he's getting overlooked a little bit compared to some of the other guys that are getting a ton of attention. my dog just walks around repeatedly. He has like the ideal build, I feel like, for like an old school interior offensive lineman. If you take a look at him, I think he does really well for a guy that big and that size as a puller. When you see it when they're running the ball, the dude's just nasty and he just wants to throw dudes all over the place. You see an issue with some of the top tackles in the draft, like even a Fashanu, when they're pulling out and they're getting to the outside of the numbers, they're hitting one guy and they're like falling on him. Mason McCormick knows these linebackers, sure, I'm going to hit him and fall on him sometimes, but if it's like a corner and a safety, I'm taking both those guys and I'm still trying to run as fast as I can. So I think he does well. And I think he's an intelligent player. He has a good build. He's great as a puller, but he plays a little bit too upright for his size. I think he should probably be a little bit more bent in his knees. And sometimes he's out of position in space. That's it.
2,800 snaps in college and only two sacks given up. Now you can point to the fact that he plays for some team that no one's ever heard of called the Jackrabbits, but it's still impressive. So
absolutely,
I didn't have him on my top 5 mostly because of the small school thing, but the statistics are impressive.
I think maybe our 3 might be the same.
I hope so, because unless you got this guy really high.
I do have a guy really high.
Oh, man. Okay, who's your 3?
3, Zach Frazier.
Oh, okay.
I'm guessing 3's your... Who's 3?
Christian Haynes.
Okay, that's what I thought. You have Zach at 2?
No.
You don't have Zach at... Wait, oh, shit. Okay, wait. Hold on. I want... Let's hold off on Zach if he's your 1. I'll let you talk about Zach. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll be honest with you. Zach bumped up to number 1 because that JPJ stuff about him not testing at the combine is like super interesting to me, and there's already been rumors about him.
And
he has
snap problems.
He seems like the type of player that might fall.
I got close to swapping 2 and 3. Spoiler alert. So Zach Frazier almost moved up a little bit. And it was because of the JPJ stuff. Absolutely. And I was not made aware of some of the snap issues that he had. And then I went back and I was very specifically looking for snap issues for Jackson Powers Johnson. And you watch it and some of the snaps are bad, man. And I'm like, dude, the NFL is already having a problem with centers that are having bad snap problems, which has not been a consistent thing that we've seen in the league ever. And now all of a sudden it's becoming consistent, and this guy is continuing the trend. It's not going to be like he's going to be a bad player for just the snap stuff. Creed Humphrey has some snap issues, and he's a really good center. But the non-testing stuff, and he's a big boy. That's a big man.
Yep. With tiny arms.
Yeah, and this is the same thing where you like side eye. You side eye some of the Tavondre Sweat stuff at the Senior Bowl.
Yep.
Now you got to really side eye some of the stuff with the Jackson Powers Johnson stuff.
You sure do.
Yeah. I really like Zach Frazier. I think he's a guy again. I almost moved up to 2 because of the issues with Jackson Powers Johnson. The tape speaks for itself when it comes to JPJ. But I think some of the exterior stuff of not testing and some of the snap issues is something that's really starting to pummel through. And I think this interior offensive lineman, that 2 and 3 can change a little bit. But I like Zach a lot.
Sure.
Do you want me to talk about your 3?
Did you put Christian at 1?
I did.
Okay, I have to tell you, full disclosure, center is more valuable to me than guard is.
Yeah.
Full stop. Zach Frazier gets number 1 for me because he plays the more valuable position. But I love Christian. I absolutely love him. And when the mock drafts first started flowing, the 49ers were getting him in the second, and now he's going to be long gone before the 49ers come back on the clock. So
I have to be select him at the first round.
I don't have any argument for you on this except for the fact that I'm dropping Jackson Powers Johnson on all of my stuff right now, and Zach Frazier plays center. And I think what happens here, and again, it's a big board and not a mock draft, but still the two are factored together. I think what
Sure.
happens here is if Jackson Powers drops, you automatically elevate the next guy, and that's Zach Frazier. That's the only
Yep.
reason why I put that way. But I love Christian. I think he's a beast. So go ahead and show out on him.
I said that I really like nasty interior offensive linemen, and we're talking about the nastiest interior offensive linemen. Stop what you're doing right after this. Keep watching. Appreciate it.
Like
Right
and
after this
comment.
is done, go ahead and go watch Christian Haynes at the Senior Bowl. Watch how many motherfuckers he pissed off just because he's just getting under people's skin. They can't get by him. He's putting dudes in the dirt. He's quick. He's a great puller. He's really nasty. He's putting you in the dirt. In the run game, there's not a better interior offensive lineman. He has some issues with the pass stuff because he's really aggressive. That aggressiveness comes out in pass protection as well. But I think he goes and he backs up and he looks to his left and right and nobody's coming at him at first. And so he's like, oh, I'm going to go back up the tackle, or I'm going to go back up the center. And you don't realize, oh shit, there's a dude stunting right back to me. And I'm not seeing that immediately. And all of a sudden I'm leaving my assignment and I'm reaching my arm out to try to stop someone because I'm too aggressive. So sitting in that pass protection could be something that he really needs to work on. And the run game, though, if you absolutely coaching, he has what it takes to be a very good, like, Pro Bowl, all pro level interior a guard. He has the everything you need out of him. There's been guys in the past who are taken a lot higher than where they're supposed to go because of nastiness and those intangibles. And Christian might be a guy that I know we're seeing him maybe in like the later second, early second. I think is something that is super on the card from just because of how much a team could potentially value what they're doing in that run game and how good they're. I mean, Christian Haynes goes to like a team like the Titans with their coaching staff over there with it's Bill, right? Is Bill the head coach? So the father with him as the offensive line coach, forget about it. Dude's going to be an all pro. You got Skoronski, Haynes, that's a nasty offensive line all of a sudden, and Derrick Henry's gone. So I think that's where I sit with my interior offensive lineman.
Yeah. Christian that's really his only downside is the sitting in coverage and waiting for the stunts and everything. But again, coaching, and as a 49er fan, his pull ability, his zone read, the zone run ability, everything. He's so athletic. I don't know. I think that somebody's going to plug him into their offensive line as a starter this year, and he's going to be there for the next 10 years. That's what I expect out of Christian Haynes. So
immediate
shout out
starter.
to that. I am 100% on board with you.